If you were to hire somebody now as a CA,
Okay.
top three questions on your mind, you'll definitely ask them. Technically, how would you challenge them? What are the major tools used here in the organizations? Tell me practical advices for them. Alright guys, so welcome back once again. If you're somebody new to my channel, my name is Nikhilesh. I live here in Berlin, here with a friend of mine. What's your name?
Preeti Ramachandran.
Preeti is actually a CA. One of a kind video I'm making. I've never met CA working here in Germany. In short, she came to Germany 7 years back. She's married and she came with her husband.
Yeah.
Why am I giving your introduction? Why don't you give your introduction?
Yeah, sure. He said, my name is Preeti Ramachandran. I come from Chennai. I'm a chartered accountant by profession and I worked for about 4 years in India. And I moved to Germany 7 years ago in 2017 after I got married to my husband. Yeah, after I came here, I've been working for a few years in Berlin. Yeah, that's just the...
So my first question, if there are people who are doing CA or probably have done CA, are working for a few years now, what's the job like situation for them here in Germany?
It's very promising because all the big fours are also here. With the basic degree and with a few years of experience in India, let's say 2 or 3 years after being qualified as a chartered accountant, it's quite easy to find jobs in finance in Germany because it's quite extensive and the job market is not as dull as it is for the automobile industries and other industries which Germany thrives in. Yeah.
What area of CA has more jobs here?
Every controller job, there are junior controller jobs in finance. So people who have minimum years of experience can start as a junior controller. And there are jobs in big fours. There are venues in banking and all other industries that are here.
7 years back when you came, you had the first job you took, right?
Yeah.
It took you what? 3-4 months?
It was about 4 months
4
after
months.
I came here. I started the job search. I applied for companies like Daimler, all the major companies here, and also for BASF. That was the company I got through. So
And what were you doing there?
I worked as a junior controller. It
Okay.
was a specific area called transfer pricing, and I was the junior controller in intercompany transfer pricing.
Within the community of CA here in Germany, where are other people working in your view?
Mostly in industries. They join as a junior controller or as an analyst. Financial planning analysis has a lot of demand here. Mostly they are financial planners and analysts.
Isn't like German required for your field?
I would say it is not, but it's not like for the IT. So for IT, you don't need anything at all. But to survive in Germany, it's always important to learn the language. So I'm a big advocate for learning the language here, even though it's not required. But maybe to get into big firms, if you're coming from India, to get into big firms like Ernst & Young or Deloitte or KPMG or whatever, they don't take the candidates unless they know C1 level of German. So I have tried applying for many times for the big fours, and I have not even got a rejection email. So that's how the situation is when it comes to applying for big fours. But generally to get into industries, it's quite easy if you have at least 2 or 3 years of experience, and then you can get through without the language. But you have to show that you're interested to learn the language. Maybe there will be one part of the interview where they will want to interview in German and check your skills. You should at least show that you're interested to learn and expand.
The recognition of your CA degree from India here in Germany, is there a process for it or can I just get started?
No, there's no, it's called Anerkennung, right, in German. So there's no Anerkennung for CA. Like probably for bachelors, you can try applying for Anerkennung. But for CA, the equivalent here, it's called Wirtschaftsprüfung and Steuerberatung. There's no way you can get a recognition with an Indian degree and become a Wirtschaftsprüfer or anything like that. So it's altogether learn German until C1 and do the Steuerberatung course or the Wirtschaftsprüfung, and then only you can become a practitioner. So in terms of practice, it is difficult to survive here with the Indian degree. But if you study further, yeah, you can.
What do you mean by study further?
Like for the Wirtschaftsprüfung and the Steuerberatung.
Where can people go and learn this?
So there's an institute that similar to the Indian Chartered Accountants Institute. There's an institute here. It's called Wirtschaftsprüferkammer, I think. They govern all this, and you have to get registered under them, and then you have to undergo the process of learning and writing exams, working under a practitioner here. I think it's a similar process like in India, but I'm not sure about the exact details.
And you didn't try for that?
I did not try.
Okay. And your core has been what for all these years?
I have worked mostly as a controller and a financial planning and analyst. So it's mostly review, analysis, comparison between current month and the previous month and giving KPIs and things like that.
What advice do you have for people who are watching us and are CA as well? They're sitting in India, they're
Yeah.
now looking for a job. Tell me practical advices for them.
I would say India is the best place for chartered accountants because we are recognized very well there. I think we earn quite a good amount in comparison to the software professionals who graduate with us. So India is definitely still thriving for chartered accountants. So I don't think anybody has to actually come abroad and find opportunities. But it's very promising here because there are a lot of industries and the work culture is a little different here. For Indian chartered accountants, they have to work all days more than 8 hours, but in Germany it's quite strict. You don't have to work beyond the working hours. So I think if you want to taste Europe, if you want to see Europe, you can, the first place you can think about for chartered accountants is definitely Germany.
In terms of steps, right? Like I'm seeking
Yeah.
for a job now, and I'm asking you.
Yeah, I
give me
can.
some practical advice.
Yeah, sure. So I think, like I said, if you have a minimum 2 or 3 years of experience, you can build your cover letter and your German resume. You can check for samples from the internet and build your resume without a photo, most probably without a photo, because for chartered accountant jobs you don't require a photo. And the cover letter should also be prepared in such a way that it can be changed for every job that you apply for. So you can tweak the cover letter based on the job description that's there in the for each of the jobs that's advertised. And
So यार मैं तो चला जर्मनी मैंने एक्चुअली आया था निशाला का ऑफिस खोलने मैं जा रहा हूँ आज बर्लिन अगर आप लोग एडमिशन प्रोसेस
you have the resume as such for every job, it's the same, but the cover letter alone has to change, because if you put a few things that are there in the job description, then that gets picked up in the HR software that they use. Yeah, to build the cover letter and resume is the major part. It's about 90% of the job, and the rest of it is to find the company websites that are there in Germany, and don't apply through other mediums. Like, even though it's advertised in Indeed or Stepstone, it's always good to go via the company websites because that has more reach to the HR directly. And in Germany, it's also that you can call up and ask a HR about the status of your application. So if you have a telephone number advertised, or if you have an email, you can email the HR and you can obtain the status of your application. And you have to have realistic goals about the salaries here. For example, as a chartered accountant with how many ever years of experience in India, if you get into a junior controller role or a junior financial planning and analyst, it should be somewhere between 35,000 to 38,000 euros when you start.
per annum.
Per annum.
Okay.
When you start, it's not more than that. I'm not talking about the big fours because I don't know about them, but for the industry standards, it's 35,000 euros to 38,000 euros.
Okay.
But depending on the years of experience and the job description, you can quote a little higher, but I would say not more than 42,000 as when you start here. And with time, you get into somewhere around 55 to 60,000.
So people who are doing masters here,
Yeah.
and if I'm that guy, I actually have done masters. I've done
Okay.
my MBA. If
Okay.
I was to specialize in finance and go and do the same job what you were doing
Yeah.
here as a CA, do I get more privileges over you?
It depends. It depends on the company policy and what the top management decides to give. If you're if you're good about negotiating for a good salary, yes, you can definitely try. But they should be convinced enough that they can pay whatever is being demanded.
But I've not heard a master students getting in that bracket what you're talking about, like 38, 40, 40, whatever.
Okay,
They
and what is
they at least get like 48 plus. or
48
50,
plus?
50 plus.
master's students?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But in finance, you mean?
Yeah. In any domain of business,
Okay.
if they're graduating as a MBA or masters in management, the average conversation starts at 45.
40. Okay. I think I'm not too sure because I've not met people
But
who
you're
have done.
quoting something of your experience, so which
Yeah,
is fine, you know,
yeah.
of course. Yeah, but again, a lot of factors depend, right? Like the experience, city,
Yeah, yeah.
company, where you are, all
Yeah.
that. But you're saying that if I am starting as a CA in Germany, that's the bracket I should quote.
That's the realistic bracket.
Okay.
Probably people wait for more time to get a job to reach around 42 or something, but if you have to immediately find a job, it's realistic to start somewhere between 35 and 38.
What are the major tools used here in the organizations? Anything to get the operations processed faster, something specific to Germany. So what I'm trying to ask you is, you worked in India for 4 years. You had a certain structure and way to
Yeah.
work with, tools to work with, softwares to
Yeah.
work with.
Yeah.
How is it different here in Germany?
Mostly, if we have worked in big companies, it's about SAP. So SAP is the software that they use. And in Germany also, a lot of big companies use SAP. And there are other similar softwares from Oracle or Microsoft or things like that. From a tools perspective, you should know a little bit of software that you've worked in the previous previous companies like SAP or something. Otherwise, Microsoft Excel is like the universal code for getting into any sort of financial analysis. So you should be good at Excel, and you should know a few softwares. Yeah.
If you were to hire somebody now as a CA,
Okay.
what are the top 3 questions on your mind you'll definitely ask them?
I would probably ask what are the 3 major things that would make me choose them for the job role? What are the 3 important characteristics that they have? And I would probably ask what are the reviews about you from your peers when you have worked in the previous companies. State something that they say about you which is advantageous for your job application. And how would you like to sell yourself to get the job? What your friends say, and
It's fine. These questions are more focusing on the checking on this personality traits and
Yeah.
soft skills.
yeah.
Technically, how would you challenge them?
So it depends on the job description, I would say.
Just give us an example that you're hiring for this role.
Yeah.
What question would you ask?
For example, if it's a controller role or if it's a financial planning and analysis role, it'll be a case study usually. So it'll be an Excel based case study, and you will be given data about the company, and you'll be asked to analyze the profit and loss of the company for the previous year or the current year or the between months. Then they will test you on your knowledge of Microsoft Excel, whether you're good at modeling, whether you can do a little bit of Microsoft Pivot and Power BI, a little bit of Power BI, and whether you're open to like for example, it can be not just a financial plan, just not restricted to finance alone, but also a little bit into tech. So if you're able to prove your skills, which is close to the technical side also, then that's an additional advantage.
What's your last advice to all those people who are watching and are CA and they are okay to have a job here in Germany?
In general, my rule is learn German at least until B1 and come here, because it really helps in integration, and it's important to have a solid few years of experience in India, because that really helps for any sort of roles. And come with an open mind, and you can find that Germany is the best place to be.
All right. If you have made it till here, hit that thumbs up button and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.